All right, welcome to The Explainer, where we unpack big ideas. And today we're tackling a huge one using some fascinating research from the Faculty of Psychology at Universitas Gadjah Mada. We're asking a question that's on every parent's mind. How on earth do we raise kids in this super connected digital world?
Okay, to really get a handle on just how big this is, let's kick things off with a number, 80.66%. So what do you think this represents? It's a massive figure, and it really sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about.
Well, that's the percentage of Indonesia's entire population that's connected to the internet. We're talking more than 8 out of every 10 people. And when you narrow that down to the younger generations, like Gen Z and Alpha, that number is pretty much 100%. They're not just using the internet, they were born into it. They are true digital natives. So this incredible level of connection creates what the researchers call a digital paradox. And it's a big one. On one hand, you've got these amazing, endless tools for learning, for being creative, for connecting with people all over the globe. But on the other hand, it's also bringing some really serious challenges to a young person's development. Okay, so what are these challenges we're talking about? The research really zooms in on 4 major areas of concern, 4 places where we're seeing a huge impact on young people trying to find their way in this digital world. First up, we've got a fundamental shift in cognitive skills. Our digital habits, constantly jumping from notifications to feeds to messages, they're actually training our brains to be amazing at multitasking. But here's the trade-off. That can actually weaken the mental muscles we need for deep, critical thinking. The kind of focus you need to really get lost in a book. Then there's this really weird paradox in their social and emotional lives. They're technically more connected than any generation in history, right? But a lot of young people are reporting feeling more lonely and more anxious than ever. All those perfect curated feeds and the constant social comparison, it's like the perfect breeding ground for things like FOMO, that's the fear of missing out, and even serious depression.
And this isn't just a hunch or a feeling. Get this. The hard data behind it is pretty staggering. A major study by Twang and Campbell found this incredible link. Teens who spend more than 5 hours a day on their devices were 71% more likely to show symptoms of depression compared to kids who are on for just an hour. 71%. That's a huge number.
The third big challenge really gets to the core of who they are, their identity. There's this immense pressure on young people to create and maintain this perfect, idealized digital self online. But what happens when that shiny online version of you doesn't match up with your real life? Well, it can create this painful gap that leads straight to anxiety and really low self-esteem. And finally, there's the unavoidable risk of being exposed to some really harmful stuff online. We're talking about everything from cyberbullying to sexting to online predators. And to put a number on it, the Indonesian Child Protection Commission, or KPAI, reported a jaw-dropping 40% jump in cases of violence against children in just the last 3 years. And a lot of that is tied directly to online activity. Okay, so when you hear all that, it can feel, well, pretty overwhelming, right? But here's the good news. The research argues that the solution isn't to just run away from technology or try to ban it. The answer is actually to build a powerful, collaborative alliance to help guide our kids through it all. And the core idea here is something called ecosystemic synergy. Now, that's a mouthful, but it's a really important concept from the research. Basically, it just means that no one can solve this problem alone. Not parents, not teachers, not the government. The digital world is just too big. The only way we can move forward is with a coordinated approach where every part of a child's life is working together.
So this ecosystem is built on 4 essential pillars, 4 allies that absolutely have to work in harmony. And they are the family, the school, the community, and yep, the media itself.
All right, so let's dive into that. Let's break down the specific, absolutely crucial role that each of these 4 allies has to play if we're going to raise a digitally wise generation. Naturally, it all starts at home with the family, and the family's role has to change. It's not just about controlling screen time or laying down the law anymore. The real goal is to shift from being a controller to being a collaborator, creating an open conversation so kids feel safe talking about what's happening in their online world. Oh, and the research also points out that the father's role as a kind of tech mentor is especially important here. And the research gives parents 3 really practical steps to take. First, co-engagement. This means don't just watch over their shoulder, join in. Play that video game with them, watch that YouTuber they love. Second, modeling. Remember, your kids are always watching, so you have to model the healthy digital habits you want them to have. And third, create a family media plan, but do it together so everyone's on the same page.
Okay, moving from the home to the second pillar, the school. Their job now goes way beyond just math and history. Schools have to actively teach digital citizenship, and that covers everything from media literacy to online etiquette and digital wellness. This also means teachers need to shift their style a bit, moving from the sage on the stage to more of a guide on the side, helping students use tech for real critical thinking and creativity.
Pillar number 3 is the wider community. And this means everyone, local government, community centers, even cultural and religious leaders. Their job is to build a supportive net around our kids. This could be through cool programs like youth digital hubs, or by organizing things like parenting support groups, which gives parents a space to share what works and, not feel so alone in all this.
And finally, the fourth pillar, the media itself. And man, this is a double-edged sword, isn't it? The tech platforms and the content creators, they have enormous power. So they have a huge responsibility to put the well-being of their users ahead of just getting more clicks and engagement. We're talking more transparency about their algorithms and a real commitment from influencers and YouTubers to be positive, constructive role models for their young audience. So what happens when you bring all 4 of these pillars together? You got the family, the school, the community, and the media all working in synergy. What does that actually look like? What's the end game here?
Well, it all leads to this ultimate goal. The aim isn't to create digital immigrants, people who are afraid of tech or just resist it. The goal is to raise a digital wise generation, a generation that can navigate the incredible complexities of the online world with wisdom, with strong character, and with a real sense of purpose.
So in the end, the choice this research puts in front of us is pretty clear. The digital world isn't going anywhere. It's here to stay. The real question is, are we going to be its architects, actively shaping it, or are we just going to be its accidents, passively letting it shape us? By working together, we can build a healthier, more positive digital future for the next generation. And that's our explainer for today.